winter weather advisories. I'm going to break this down for you.
Plus, we'll have a look at road conditions across the area and how area schools decide whether to cancel class or go virtual during inclement weather.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Sleet and snow hitting the 4 states today, and it's not over yet. This is KOAM at 5. We'll go straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, pretty intense for us today. About a 3-hour period where we had some thunder sleet, some thunder snow across the region. The areas that get all sleet picked up a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of sleet, and then areas that it mixed in with snow, you got 1, 2, even 3 inches across the region. Winter storm warnings continue along South Interstate 44. Pretty much everybody else under winter weather advisories. Things have really calmed down over the past few hours. We had this intense band that rolled through earlier today, and then now it's pretty calm. We do still have some light snow and sleet kind of spitting out there. I think we're going to go to a little bit of freezing drizzle as we go through the evening hours, but another band will develop down through northern parts of Texas later on tonight and head toward us. It's obviously cold. We're sitting into the mid-teens. It's windy. We got these north winds at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. How much more are we going to get? We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
Well, this wintry weather is creating some issues for people on the road. KOAM Shannon Becker has more on road conditions in Joplin. Wintry weather caused many area students to stay home from school today. While some students had a day off as a snow day, others had a virtual day, otherwise known as an AMI day. In Missouri, each school district is allowed up to 36 hours of an AMI learning per school year. Then there are also snow days that have to be made up by the end of the year. The Joplin School District says using an AMI day today to keep their calendar on track.
Our last day of school is the Friday before Memorial Day, so we don't like to go past Memorial Day if we can help it, and so that is when we kick in our AMI. So we are on our 3rd AMI day.
We'll hear more about how districts make decisions about class amid inclement weather tonight at 6. A senior U.S. defense official says Russian forces along Ukraine's borders are prepared and ready to conduct a full-scale invasion. The international community is imposing sanctions against Russia, but Ukrainian officials are calling for more. Reporter Deborah Alfarone has more.
The Biden administration has announced new sanctions against the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and its corporate officers. It comes one day after Germany halted certification of the project, which would have transported natural gas directly from Russia to Germany.
We have ensured that this is an $11 billion prize investment that is now a hunk of steel sitting at the bottom of the sea.
New satellite images show Russia's military buildup is growing along Ukraine's border, and U.S. officials say the Kremlin continues to send troops into rebel-held areas. At a United Nations General Assembly meeting in New York, Russia's representative made this threat.
The ceasefire will be monitored by the Russian armed forces. No one intends to go softly with any violators.
At the same meeting, U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield warned that Russia's actions could set off a tidal wave of suffering across the world, including a spike in food prices and a refugee crisis.
Now is the time to get off of the sidelines. Let us together show Russia that it is isolated and alone in its aggressive actions.
Local Ukrainian media say its government's websites were targeted Wednesday by cyber attacks. Ukraine has mobilized its military reservists as tensions build.
We appreciate decisions already taken, but they're not enough to prevent Russia from changing their mind.
The European Union has scheduled an emergency meeting on Thursday to discuss further assistance to Ukraine and more possible consequences for Russia. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
The Biden administration says it's still willing to engage diplomatically with Russia, but only if it reverses course. Still ahead, rent continues to rise.
Renters are facing price hikes. I'm Elise Preston, and I'll tell you how much the rent is going up.
And in Health Watch, what a new study shows about the inflammation risk for kids receiving a COVID-19 vaccine.
Dear Winter, my squad.
Mattress ends soon.
Topping today's Health Watch, new CDC data looking at maternal mortality in the U.S. shows that the rate for non-Hispanic Black women was almost 3 times higher than the rate for non-Hispanic white women in 2020. Statistics also show the rate for women aged 40 and older was 7.8 times higher than the rate for women under age 25. U.S. researchers have some reassuring findings for parents. A new analysis of government data shows COVID-19 vaccines are not likely to trigger a rare inflammatory condition linked to COVID infection in children. Reporter Naomi Ruchim has more.
18-year-old Joey DeChera spent weeks in the hospital in November 2020 with multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, or MIS-C, a rare but serious complication associated with COVID-19 infection. She had high fever, diarrhea, vomiting, pneumonia, and her kidneys were failing.
I just told my mom I'm not going to make it. Had nothing left in me to fight anymore. Recovery was so hard on her. It's not something that you just recover in a week or two.
More than 6,800 cases of MIS-C have been reported since May 2020. Only a handful were in children with no detectable COVID infection. Research in the Lancet Child and Adolescent Health looks at cases among vaccinated 12 to 20-year-olds.
What they found was that there were very, very, very few reported cases of MIS-C among children who had gotten a dose of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine.
During the 9-month study, 21 cases of MIS-C were identified among 21 million patients who received at least one vaccine dose, suggesting 1 case per million in the vaccinated, much lower than estimates of 200 cases per million in unvaccinated patients infected with COVID-19.
The take home is that it is a very safe vaccine, and this study just adds to this growing body of literature that suggests that vaccines are actually quite effective at preventing MIS-C.
I still get the bounce of fatigue.
Vaccines were not available when Joey got sick.
If you go through this, it traumatizes people. We do wear our masks, we take precautions, and we're vaccinated. And we're still afraid.
Joey's mom hopes these findings help others avoid what her family went through. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
CDC data shows at least 59 children have died from MIS-C. Teens who break their drug habit before adulthood usually do not harm their chances for a bright future. A large study in Australia tracked thousands of people for 16 years. It found marijuana and amphetamine users who broke their habit before age 30 did not have lower economic and relationship success later in life. That's a look at today's health news. A little later, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to talk about teeth problems with your dog.
Plus, 1 round is down. We have another one to go. Later on tonight into tomorrow, those details coming up.
Kramer's Meats, 55 years.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nasty day for us today. And we had the sleet, the snow that rolled in about 10 o'clock this morning, and it came down in buckets for about 3 hours. We had some thunder sleet, we had some thunder snow across the region. Most of us got majority sleet, but there were areas that got majority snow, and the areas that got snow, it just really piled up very quickly. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. This is all sleet on the ground. Of course, a lot of roadways in bad shape, and they're going to stay that way as we go through the evening hours. Winter storm warnings continue along and south of I-44. Winter weather advisories for most of us, and this is mainly due to another round, which is going to rotate in as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Right now we look okay, but we are going to start to see those sleet showers starting to pick up a little bit later on tonight. In fact, actually temperatures are going to rise just a little bit as we go toward dawn. So we're sitting into the mid-teens right now, but we are going to rise near 20 by the time we head into the morning hours. We have these strong northeasterly winds, so that makes it feel a little bit colder than what it actually is. Through the evening hours, kind of hold steady after midnight, we start to rise a little bit. At that point in time, we start to see sleet rolling back into the region. Here's our main storm system way out across southwestern parts of the U.S. So this wave is going to head toward us. Here's wave 1. Here's wave 2. We'll start to see sleet picking back up northern parts of Texas, southern parts of Oklahoma, and then head toward us again as we head into the overnight hours tonight. I think most of the accumulating sleet and snow is going to be late tonight after 3 o'clock in the morning. Until then, we're going to have some freezing drizzle, so still be careful on the roadways. And then late tonight, things will start to pick up. Here's 11 p.m. Let's go through the overnight hours. Sleet starts to pick back up. So here's 3:30 in the morning. We get some bands of moderate sleet by morning 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Look at our temps, mainly near 20 to about 22 degrees. And then the heaviest, I think, is going to roll out after about 10 o'clock in the morning. And then during the afternoon, we just get some light little snow showers across the region. Temperatures stay cold. But temperatures, they're going to be cold all day tomorrow. We start in the morning at about 20, 23 by noon. High temp at 26, northerly winds at about 5 to 10. So at least it's not going to be as windy as what we have seen. Clouds will start to break up tomorrow night. We drop single digits. So a very cold start on Friday. And then mostly sunny skies on Friday, and we should get near freezing, at least for afternoon highs. All right, road conditions. Roads are bad right now. So if you don't have to go out, don't go out. They're going to stay bad as we go through the overnight hours tonight, and especially with additional sleet into the morning hours tomorrow. And then once the event rolls out of here tomorrow afternoon, the roads will start to improve. But over about the next 18 hours, they're going to be pretty bad. Here's your timeline. We continue with very light sleet over the next several hours, and then it picks up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, fairly intense, and then we switch over to light snow by the time we head into tomorrow afternoon. Additional sleet and snow. I think it's mainly going to be sleet in the blue, an additional 1/2 inch to inch, so about double what we've already seen, and then a dusting to a 1/2 inch out in our western counties. So we still have another wave to go late tonight into tomorrow morning. 26 tomorrow, 28 on Friday. We do get to 39 on Saturday, back to 48 on Sunday. Look at this, Danny. 68 degrees a week from today, so it will be a distant memory.
That's what I'm looking at, just scanning the forecast there for when it finally gets warmer.
Where's the 68? Yeah.
Thanks, Doug.
Yep.
Well, we had some technical issues earlier, but here is KOAM's Shannon Becker with the road conditions in Joplin.
Yeah, we're here at 7th and Range Line, our Joplin Bureau, and traffic seems to be moving a little bit slower. Fewer people even on the roads, perhaps. The precipitation arrived in Joplin mid-morning, and it came down quickly, I think shocking a lot of drivers. Like this single vehicle crash in Joplin occurred about 11 at Landreth Park along Murphy Boulevard. The car went off the road due to icy conditions and ended up in Joplin Creek. The driver was not injured. He was rescued by Joplin Fire Department. Traveling on the Joplin area roads, like Schifferdecker, visibility early afternoon was down to about 1/4 mile. And as the day wore on, sleet and freezing rain stopped, leaving MoDOT trucks a little bit extra time to catch up. But still here on East 7th Street, not completely clear. Joplin police suggest slow down, plan extra stopping distance, and increase your following distance. The Stone Corner roundabout, slow going, still snow covered. And in the middle of town near the Joplin License Bureau, East 9th onto Illinois, completely snow covered. We'll continue to keep our eyes on the Joplin area roads. I'm Shannon Becker for KOAM TV 7.
Coming up, a look at the rise in rent prices. But first, we honor a local veteran. Walter Krasovek served in the U.S. Army from 1943 to 1945. The Franklin, Kansas native was stationed in China and India. We salute technician 5th grade Walter Krasovek, a 4-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, $5.8 billion. That's how much consumers lost to fraud last year, according to the Federal Trade Commission. That marks a record and is up 70% from 2020. The average person lost $500. Among the leading scams, fraudsters stealing data to file fake unemployment claims and peddling phony products like hand sanitizer and masks. What goes up keeps going up. Rents continue to rise across the country, and that's forcing tenants to make difficult choices, Elise Preston reports.
To me, it just really feels like I'm being forced out of my home.
Crystal Guerra is packing up and moving from her Miami apartment after the landlord raised her rent $400.
They told me, I think a couple days before the lease was due to be renewed, we want you to pay $19.50 a month.
According to Realtor.com, nationwide rent prices are up nearly 20% compared to last year. The Miami area saw the biggest jump. Rates increased more than 52%.
We've never seen anything quite like this in the rental market before.
Realtor.com chief economist Danielle Hale says a big reason why demand is outpacing supply.
We see that there's low vacancy. And so that means it's renters that are competing for units and not landlords competing to have renters fill their units.
And the increases are expected to continue. A survey shows 61% of landlords are planning rent hikes on at least one of their properties this year.
Experts do believe prices will start to stabilize in the coming months.
We do expect these pace of growth to slow down, but that means rents will still be at a pretty high level and growing just at a closer to normal pace of growth.
I couldn't really find anything within my budget.
Crystal couldn't find an affordable place, so she's moving in with her boyfriend, something the couple wasn't planning to do this soon.
We're excited to kind of test that and see how it's going, but also it's one of those things where we recognize that it wasn't the way we wanted to do it.
And many renters are facing difficult choices as the cost of living continues to increase. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Our pet vet on call next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, why so many veterans struggle to find a job after service. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more on how area schools decide whether to cancel classes or go virtual. Plus, a Missouri bill could change who's allowed to carry a gun in schools. And how a new program in Pittsburgh is bringing computer programmers together. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Dental health is extremely important for humans as well as our pets. Today's question for our pet vet on call: how can I tell if my dog has an infected tooth?
Well, that could be hard because unlike us, dogs don't whine and complain and tell you it's hurting. And also the infection could be deep down in the root where it doesn't show and need x-rays. But most of the time, all you have to do is lift up his lip and take a look. If the gum is red and puffy, if there's pus on the gum line, if the tooth hurts when you touch it, or if the breath is about to knock you over, then most likely he's got an infected tooth. And if you ever had a toothache, you know what it feels like. If you suspect that, get him to your vet as soon as you can.
For the question, we invite questions from anyone. If you have one, just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question or brings us a fun fact every Wednesday on the KOAM News at 5. You can also find answers to previous questions on our website. And now let's check out our picks of the litter from the week from the Joplin Humane Society. We have Adelaide, a 1 to 2-year-old female shepherd mix with a lot of energy. And from the SEK Humane Society, we have this 2-year-old male domestic short-hair cat named Teddy. If you're looking for a pet, why not check out your local Humane Society? Well, it's a little more of the same for tomorrow, right?
Yeah, kind of nasty out there. If you're going to be out on the roads, be careful this evening. Sleet really packs into the road, so even our MoDOT, KDOT, ODOT who are out there, they have a hard time clearing these roads as it kind of packs down into the asphalt. But we are going to get some very light sleet, very light freezing drizzle most of the night, and then moderate sleet picks back up late tonight through tomorrow morning. Temperatures stay well below freezing. Finally, we warm up by the weekend.
Well, thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we'll be right back here for the KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Make it a great evening.